Inhlikan lo nene. The previous speaker, I heard him greeting you in all 11 languages, but I didn't hear Tsonga. So, like, next we'll say, good afternoon. So, for sake of time, I'll say good afternoon. Leaders of tomorrow, SMMEs, entrepreneurs, colleagues, and other professions. My name is Sibusiso Ngobeni. I'm from a company called Supported Employment Enterprises. It's the biggest employer of persons with disability in the country. So whatever you're gonna hear from me, specifically will be more on persons with disability. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the last speaker before you go and get your lunch. My table of contents, I'll try to cut some of the things. Experience has taught me that people can concentrate for only 3 hours. And it's more than 3 hours. It means your level of concentration is depreciated. I'll just quickly go to the background overview. What is Supported Employment Enterprises? Supported Employment Enterprises is an entity for the Department of Labor. It was established somewhere in 1943. After the Second World War in 1939, an entity was established called Sheltered Employment Factories. Those who know the Sheltered Employment Entries, now we call Supported Employment Enterprises. So the back then government realized that it sent soldiers to the war to defend us back then in 1939, in the Second World War. And they came back with a disability one way or the other. What do you do with them? They provide them with skills, or to work with skills. They recycle them within the government through the Sheltered Employment Factories. So in the new dispensation, we are called Supported Employment Enterprises. So up to 1999, what I will say, we were fat cats. We were having a preferential procurement, which means government was obliged to buy from us. So after that, the new BEE, government was no longer forced to buy from us. I'll explain what should they buy. So we were somewhere 3,000 workers of disabled people. But because of the removal of the preferential procurement, we end up somewhere 904. We now pick up, I think we're 1,200 persons with disabilities. So there are challenges after the removal of preferential procurement, mainly to accommodate most of you small businesses and entrepreneurs. That was, I think, the main reason behind. Then management sat down and said, what is the turnaround strategy to ensure that we go back to that 3,000 of persons with disability? They said, okay, fine. Let us stabilize the factories through growth of sales, which why is we here today. So that we can be able to reach, in 2019, the 3,000 persons of disability and become the repository to the public and private sector organization who wants the employment equity to increase in terms of disability. And we need to do more campaigns and awareness for persons with disability, or what we're able to do. In the country, we've got 12 factories. So meaning the Department of Labor inherited the 12 factories from the back then government, as established in 1943. So these are the locations: in Bloemfontein, Durban, East London, in Cape Town, Johannesburg, Kimberley. These were the Ndabeni and Epping, they're in Cape Town. So there are all 12 of them, except Limpopo and Mpumalanga, because we inherited it from the back then government. So the structure of that was as it is. But we're in the process of opening those 2 factories. Products are manufactured by us. Supported Employment Enterprise has got capabilities to produce up to 3,000 products. But I will sample some of the products what we manufacture today. School furnitures. Some of you sit in schools in desks and chairs, comfortable. You don't know who manufactures them. Persons with disability, some of them. We're supplying the Western Cape government with the desk, the tables, the chairs that we used to use in the schools. They are manufactured by our entity and our factories. Office furniture, office chairs, table, boardroom chairs, some of the things that we manufacture. I've got a sample of those products in our stand there. In our textile division, we focus on linen, the bed sheets, doctor's clothes, nurses' clothes, anything that is more of linen, we are specialization. That's what we manufacture. Metal, we do safes, security doors, and braai stands. Those who are like braaiing in a house and other braai stands, we manufacture through persons with disability. What are the business opportunities available within this entity? It has 12 factories, employs up to 1,200 persons with disabilities. Surely there must be an opportunity for small business people or SMMEs. Security tendering. Our factories need security. So we usually advertise the tenders for security. So it's important that you know that there's an entity that employs for persons with disability. So tendering for such, increase your score for BEE and the equity for your companies. Supply chain, supply with raw materials, catering services, stationery, consumable goods like screws, sandpaper, varnish, and glue. Those are some of the things. So you'll understand that in the manufacturing industry, you need day-to-day operations of such. So SMMEs, there are opportunities for you guys within our entity so that you can able to register in the central database, visit our supply chain division, present your company. Who knows, one of the two tenders you can get, or the value chain. You will understand that in South Africa, we've got the mainstreams school and we've got special schools. So special schools are more of the learners that are not gifted in the mainstreams. They often go to the special schools, either because of they can't have proper speech or other disability, but they are fine physically like me. Some that are disabled physically in that regard. So our existence is to provide employment to those people. And it's painful because they've got nowhere. Some, they end up begging in the streets because they've got nowhere to work. So us, the exiting learners, because they don't have a main curriculum, when they reach 18 years and above, certain special schools release them. And where do they go? Some starts drugs, some they've got anger, you'll understand. But if, only if, the entity has more businesses, we're going to employ more people with disability in that regard. So we rehabilitate them so that they might not get to drugs. I've already touched on them. So we provide them with skills. The sending part, someone just employed to do the sending of a chair. You will imagine his day is gone. At the end, he's got the salary, at least. So our factories that is located in that regard, they provide specialization of different kind of products. I'll provide more information if you come to my stand in terms of what that. Economic participation. They pay SARS, meaning they contribute to the economy of the country. You also assist in social injustice because they will not be begging on or survive on grants. They've got salary and they work until retirement. Some, there are more than 30 years, 40 years of service in that factory. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I told you I'll be very fast. Support employment enterprises really needs SMMEs. For example, you've got a tender. You don't know where to manufacture linen. We encourage you to go and tender, knowing that you're going to use persons with disability in the factories. They are government factories. So go tender, go look for business, and come and work with us. Don't run away, because some of you, you get tenders. When you go the tender, you run. Please, come there, because we need business to sustain those factories. You can imagine. Statistically, it tells me that the country has got over 4.6 million of persons with disability. You can imagine it's a huge number. We can only employ up to 3,000. So, but if you do something, buy something from us, believe you me, you're contributing to those persons. They are loving people. Some of them, they even get married to one another. So they take their salaries, I don't know, 6,000, 6,012. They can afford a small house there and survive. Who contributed an SMME person? Who? A government entity. Who contributed? You guys who are in there. So from linen, go and tender. Office furnitures, go and tender. Metal, go and tender. So when you get those tenders, come. Those who've got already companies, some companies are already established, way too big. We need the fund. Come and buy office furniture. Our prices are regulated by Treasury. simply means we are affordable. Simply means we are local content, 100% South Africans, products that we raw materials. So in that regard, ladies and gentlemen, I will urge you to support persons with disability. If it was me, government was not supposed to buy any tendering or buy any furniture. It's supposed to use those factories, 12 of them. We've got capabilities to employ up to 3,000 of those people with disability. But now, where we are, 1.2. You can imagine in that regard. So we need you guys to stand up, support those kind of factories. They need you. Because we've got overheads. We don't just employ. You give them skills, you give them employment. Some of them, you need to advise them to take pills, because you see, this season, some of them, the season changes, they also change. So you need to have a proper management of such. It's a hell of a work. So we need SMMEs, guys, to say, here's an opportunity to increase your scoreboard for BEE by buying to us. Increase your equity by employing with persons with disability. Some of you can say, okay, there are companies that they want to sponsor. It's what I've got, most of you. You want to do sponsoring. We can use those factories to sponsor persons with disability. Imagine each and everyone in your company, you have 1 or 2 persons with disability who are working in your companies. I visit special schools. One school can have over 350 learners. Where are they going to go if we don't get business? 350. And how many? 1,000 something. A lot of special schools. I can't mention in Gauteng. Winima Digizela Mandela, Philadelphia, you name them. When those learners get out, where do they go? It's not supposed to ring in me and you. The back then government created this. It's up to us small businesses. When you get money, don't go to Dubai and have fun. Think of those people that are there. That if I can spend this money in a chair, reupholstering, we do reupholstering. You can able to reupholster your own couch. So we need business. Visit the factories. The locations are there. I've got information brochures there. Know them. All I want, guys, when we get out of here, we've got a mandate to employ. But that mandate must be substantiated by what? By the sales we generate. The removal of the preferential procurement was to accommodate you guys in this area. I'm talking to the right audience. I'm correct. So I want you to go home and think, if I can just contribute to persons with disability. You don't choose to be disabled. You don't choose. It's when they see you, Jeremy, they're loving people. They will just hug you all around. They even forget that they're to work. So some of them, they can't even get a promotion or become an entrepreneur. They work there until lifetime. I was told we're celebrating 46 years of someone working there in the factory, meaning he came there around 20s. How old is he now? 46 years of service. So I want us to dwell in this in our mind to say, guys, I'm going to support that initiative. It's not an initiative, it's an entity. It's a company. It's there to live for good. But it depends on who? On those who've got tenders, on those who've got some extra cashes, on those who want to renovate their companies, on those who that want linen, on those who want office furnitures. So I urge you, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, to come and use the entity. Thank you so much.